Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and hello to all of you. This is the lecture for chapter 4, data gathering, legal aspect and process. So in this chapter, by the name itself, data gathering, you at this point of time, you're already familiar with the usage of the fact-finding sheet as one of the main or the central mechanism for our data collection process from the client. Okay, another information that you need to know about the fact-finding sheet is where the fact finder, once it is filled, it cannot be altered. Okay, all right, so any alteration must be initial by the clients. All right, this is one of the requirement in order to avoid or to minimize future dispute between clients and the financial planner. The next is that the fact finder itself must be jointly signed by the client as well as the financial planner, and the assumptions should be reasonable. Assumptions that you use in relation to economic index, for example, should be reasonable. You have an assumption on inflation, about the salary increase, about the percentage of the return from shares, from bond, from the unit trust, etc., etc. So all of the assumption should be made reasonable towards the current economy during that time. All of the figures should be stated in Ringgit Malaysia, and your analysis, the analysis that will be conducted by financial planner, will be based on the data in the fact-finding sheet. All right, therefore, the information in the fact-finding sheet should be consistent. All right, in the sense that, for example, when there is a presence of rental income, for example, you stated that there is a rental income received by the client, which means you have to demonstrate that there is a presence of the real property, okay, such as apartment, house, or shop lot, for example. So it should be tally. All right, so if, for example, the client has a rental income, but at the same time we didn't see any property related to this income, then we can say that the information is incomplete or inconsistent. Okay, other example I should highlight, let's say in the case of loan of the liabilities. All right, so in the sense that, for example, in the liability section, you include the information that the client has a housing loan, okay, mortgage loan, but in the asset column, we didn't see the existence of this property. Okay, so it means that it is not tally. Okay, for example, you assume that the client has a car loan, but car didn't exist in the asset column. Therefore, it is also confusing and inconsistent. Other than that, that's why I asked you to provide a very detailed information, provide notes on the expenses as well, because if, for example, you didn't provide notes, then we are not sure how actually clients spend the money. Sometimes, for example, if we didn't pay particular attention to the detail, sometimes client possibly spend a lot or have a huge cash outflow, but we didn't record it. Therefore, it also will affect our judgment when we are making financial planning for our client. The next is about data gathering that is based on the legal requirements. As I already explained to you before in previous chapter, in chapter 2, that is on licensing, where those who work as a RFP, those who work as a financial planner, they need to carry a license before they can collect the information from the clients. And if it is related to the insurance product, surely they need to get a license from Bank Negara. And if it is related to regulated activities, then they should apply for the license from Securities Commission. Other things that is also important in data gathering process is about due diligence, in the sense that the financial planner must performing due diligence on the client simply means proper investigation of the client situation before making any recommendation. All right, so in other words, in Malay, we call it as kerajinan yang mudah sabar. It is what it actually means by due diligence. So the financial planner need to demonstrate their ability to make a proper investigation in collecting the data from the client. And it is actually related to the code RPS 002 category on data gathering. Later on, we're going to look at this. The next is about data gathering, that is communication, and the communication should be structured, should be scripted between you and your client, and you can use some kind like interview, counseling, and advising. All right, and later on we're going to look at the example of script that can be used during your meeting between you and your client. In order to collect the data from the client, the financial planner can use several approaches which are actually suitable for him or her. Is either using interview, whether it is a directive interview or non-directive interview, or for example the financial planner can use a more therapeutic manner such as counseling style in order to explore the financial status of the client. Or the financial advisor also can use an advising style or some sort of a consultation style where he or she can provide expert recommendation to the client to solve specific problems such as the financial problems, or for example if they can discuss on ways on how to seek alternatives in order to solve the problem. In this part, we are going to look at the RFP practice standard on data gathering, which includes the first one is the RPS codes RPS 002 category, that is on gathering relevant data and information. In this code, it requires the financial planner to collect sufficient and relevant qualitative and quantitative data and information on the client so that they can be analyzed to provide a basis to support any recommendation. So based on this code, RPS 002 category, it recommends the financial practitioner to collect both quantitative and qualitative information. The example of quantitative data is mainly the data that is can be measured in monetary terms, while qualitative data is an information that is high in quality. It is also important for us to make a decision using this information. Nevertheless, this is normally cannot be measured in monetary terms. Okay, the example of objective data or quantitative data, which includes information on asset and liabilities, wills and trust document, insurance policies, life and general, bank savings and deposits, income tax detail, EPF, family profile, and other advisors related to the financial related to the client. In respect to qualitative data, it mainly related to the dreams, what is the goal and the objectives or other wishes of the client, the religious beliefs, the surrounding, what actually influenced the client, the family, the risk profile, the expectation of the future, attitudes toward wealth, and hope and fears of the client. So the next code we are going to look at is the RPS 002A. Alright, so 002A is actually under RPS 002 category. So under RPS 002A, it focuses on determining relevancy and adequacy of data and information gathered for analysis. Okay, I repeat, it focuses on relevancy and adequacy of data and information gathered for the analysis. So as for this code, it focuses on the task of the financial planner to collect relevant information based on the scope and not to spend too much time on something or on data gathering that are irrelevant or useless. Okay, so they need to know, the financial planner need to know the scope of the data gathering and not focusing on something that might not important or might not relevant for data gathering purposes. The next code we are going to look at is RPS 002B, that is on keeping the client information confidential and documents collected in safe custody. Therefore, it is important to have a proper documentation and keeping documentation safe and confidential, because it is also a part of the responsibility to make sure that all of this document simply not being accessed by other individuals. The next is on data gathering, understanding the fact-finding process. This is something that you have already covered before, where you work on the insurance, investment, retirement, tax, estate, cash flow, and liability management. So this is actually the scope of the comprehensive financial planning. How you are going to conduct the interview for you to know your clients. Okay, so what are the procedure for you to conduct an interview? The first one is where you should select the place for the first interview session. Alright, so you need to have a comfortable or suitable place. Is either in your office or the client home. Okay, you have to ensure that the client is comfortable and relaxed during the interview session. This is among of the things that you can use in the case your client is actually a smoker, for example. So you need to build a rapport between you and clients. Next, you have to clarify the need to fact find. You need to tell the client to ensure that all information that you receive will be kept private and confidential, and you should also outline the agenda of the meeting, how long it takes. This will actually give some kind like of indication for your client how long the meeting will take place. And you also need to help the client in answering the fact-finding sheet and discuss client personal concern and priorities. Besides, you also have to get the client to participate in your conversation, align the client to provide information systematically, make sure that the information given is systematic, is not inconsistent, it is always consistent. Okay, and you have to get the client to agree on key issues, for example. So if something you are not sure, then you have to double check with your client. You also need to record the interview to make sure that you already covered all of the important information given, and you can later on recheck on the information given, for example. You also have to make the next appointment and follow-up action with your clients. So because you cannot do everything just in one meeting sometimes, so you need to follow up with the next appointment for you to continue with the task or data collection process. This is one of the skills that you need to polish in order to be a good financial planner. Interviewing skill, which is obviously related to rapport building skills. What does it mean by rapport building skill? It means a connection, a positive bonding or out of the inner feelings of the parties in their engagement. So it's a positive bonding in the sense that you try not to be judgmental to your clients, and in the sense that you need to show or exhibit a genuine concern. You are sincerely genuine to your client to help the client in the best possible way that you can. And in order to do that, because you are going to ask more information about the client's financial status, etc., and personal detail, you should try not to use an interrogation style as if that you are in police station. No, it's not like that. It's more like friendly and professional relationship. So this is the relation that you have to create between you and your client. It's not an interrogation, for example, like how much is your salary? How much is your bonus? Only 500 per year, your bonus. Very small. That is rude. You should not use that kind of questioning style. Okay, and you have to make your client feel comfortable, welcoming, and participating in the discussion. And in order to create a dialogue, you need to have a good attitude. Good attitude, and it is very much related to your heart and sincerity. And this is actually very, very important for you to develop this characteristic of a people that can be trusted, of a people of integrity, of a people with due diligence to do the work sincerely because you want to help your client. If your purpose is just to get a commission, get money out of your client, then you are not able to be a successful financial planner in a long term.